Get them out the way. Get out the way. Almost. Hi guys. Welcome to SMYLZ Philosophy. I, of course, am the legendary SMYLZ. Peep game. Girls are crazy. Like, they be saying shit that don't make sense to me sometimes. Or they, I hang out with majority females, and dudes on this end, I hear some of the wildest things that I just can't comprehend no matter how much I hang with chicks. I'm talking to this one chick, and she was having relationship problems. She wants to find happiness or whatnot. She wants to find a guy that's for her or whatever. Then she complains that men only want one thing. She's like, I don't know what it is, SMYLZ. All these guys, they all just want one thing. And she's complaining about it like it's a bad thing. Alright, I don't know how women logic works, but I find it much easier to please somebody when they just want one fucking thing. Why would you want somebody who wants more than one thing? That's harder. If I had a chance to pick, if I had to choose a chick, I would want a chick that just wants one thing. I can do one thing. I don't want a chick that wants 8 things. That's a lot of shit to do. I'm spreading myself thin. So I'm telling her, I'm like, that sounds like a good thing. A dude that just wants one thing, because they got niggas out here that want more than one thing. They not only do they want sex, they want you to cook and be there and wash clothes and dress a certain way and not go out to the club or not talk to dudes on the phone. Like, they want all this shit. That's harder to do. You would want a motherfucker that just want one thing. Alright, 8 is more than 1. 1 is less than 8. One thing is easy. 8 things are hard. Just to make life easier for you, you would want a nigga that just want one thing. Why? Because you just gotta do one thing. You don't have to do all that extra shit. Do you see the logic in this? Do you see how it makes sense? Dude, don't complain that if a nigga wants one thing, it's a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. That means that nigga is easy to please. There's gonna be more positiveness coming from a guy that's easy to please than from a guy that's harder to please. Life is happier when you have a guy that's easier to please than it is with a guy that's harder to please. Your life is going to be happier when you find you a nigga that's easy to please. If he just wants one thing, y'all going to be happy. You just got to do one thing to make him happy. If you get you a nigga that want 8 or 9 things, your life is going to be harder and more stressful and more frustrating. It's going to be negative. Because you know what? And it happened. She finally found her a nigga that she claimed wanted more than just one thing. Now, I don't know what type of nigga she think the nigga is. I just think the nigga is willing to do more just to get that one thing, and that fooled her into thinking he wants more than one thing. He wants the one thing. He just willing to go through all the shit to get the one thing. Can't fool me. I know niggas. So anyway, she claims the nigga wants more than one thing, but then gets mad because he can't supply all that shit he wants. I don't know what I'm doing, SMYLZ. I try to call him every day. I'm trying to do this, and it's just like he's just not pleased with me. It's like I'm trying to do so much to please him, and he's never happy. Well, that's what you get for wanting a nigga that wants more than one thing. If you'd have caught you that nigga that wanted one thing, he'd have been happy. But you ain't caught you a nigga that wants more than one thing. Now you complaining that the nigga hard to please. You can't please a nigga. You trying to do your best. You trying to make him happy, and it ain't working. You know why? Because you can't do everything he wants. He wants more than one thing. You should have rocked you that nigga that wanted one thing. And it'd have been easy. You didn't have to call him after work all the time. You don't have to go. You can spend time with your friends and shit like that. You can do all the shit you usually do to make this nigga happy, just applying to one thing. And guess what? Here's the cool part. When you get you a nigga that only wants one thing, he's probably willing to do whatever it takes for you to be happy too. See, when you get a nigga that wants more than one thing, and you can't supply him with everything that it takes for him to be happy, he's not going to waste effort supplying you with all the shit you need to be happy with, because he's not getting that 100% from you. So he's going to give what he takes. He's going to give what he receives. So if you only give him 50% of what he wants, he's only going to give you 50% of what he wants. And the reason you might only can give him 50% of what he wants, because he wants so much, you can't please him. You can't give him that 100% pleasure that he wants. You're not doing everything he wants. Therefore, he's not going to do everything you want. It's a give and take. So if he feels like you're not doing everything he wants to be happy, he's only going to give you what you give him. He's only going to give you 50% or whatever the fuck you want. Y'all ain't gonna never be happy. But if you get a nigga that wants one thing and you supply that one thing, one from one is 100%. One of one is 100%. He's going to be 100% happy. He's going to try to do 100% of what he could to make you happy. You're giving him everything he wants, so he's going to try to give you everything you want. If he's a cool dude, that's what I do. If I only want one thing and the chick that I'm fucking with is giving me that one thing, I'm going to try to give her the same amount of pleasure. Even if she wants 3 things, I'm going to try to do those 3 fucking things. I'm not going to stop drinking though, but I'm just saying, it's easier to fuck with a nigga that wants less than fuck with a nigga that wants more. So all you women that's complaining about a nigga that only wants one thing, you're probably missing out on something special. Because even though he might just want one thing, he might supply you with whatever the fuck you need after that. Think about it. If you get this nigga that one thing, you might be straight for the rest of your life if you just give that one thing. Instead of you trying to please a nigga that wants more than one thing, you can't please him, so he feel like he's not obligated to please you because he's not pleased. Think about it. Next time you meet a nigga, say, look, I really just want this. And if you give me this, I'll feed you, I'll take you out, just give me this one thing, we straight. You probably could get more from a nigga that wants less. That's all I'm saying. Think about it.